Relocates to safer grounds. Plateau government tells residents living in flood-prone areas. Post-harvest losses, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to establish processing centers in rural communities. Experts prefer solutions to cases of suicide. Hello and welcome to News Panorama, coming to you live from NTA Network Center, Jos. I am Zenra Dimon. Thanks for joining us today. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on our YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page NTA Network News, Twitter at NTA News Now, and Instagram NTA Network for updates. Determined to put to an end the protracted strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU), President Muhammadu Buhari this Friday held a strategic engagement with the chairman and select members of pro-chancellors of federal universities in the country. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The pro-chancellors of the federal universities were led to the State House by Professor Nimi Briggs. He said they are meeting the president not only as father of the nation, but also as visitor to the universities. Professor Briggs commended the federal government for the concessions already made to the striking lecturers, including the offer to raise salaries by 23.5% across board and 35% for professors of the salary in view of the economic situation of the country. The pro-chancellors also asked for a reconsideration of the no work, no pay stance of government, promising that the lecturers would make up for the time lost as soon as an amicable situation is reached and schools reopened. Minister of State for Education, Goodluck Nana Opia, said all the concessions made by the federal government are to ensure that the industrial action comes to an end, but ASU has remained adamant. President Muhammadu Buhari, who appreciated the pro-chancellors for wading into the industrial action, promised to engage in further consultations with relevant stakeholders on the best way forward.
It's a heavy decision. Going back on a government policy, I'll make further consultations and you will see the result. That's all I can say. Thank you very much.
The meeting is holding at a time when the pro-chancellors are still basking in the euphoria of the recent listing of the University of Ibadan amongst the top 1,000 universities in the world, a development occurring for the first time despite the poll cast by more than 7 months of industrial action. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, said the National Assembly will reconvene on Tuesday next week, and that the confirmation of the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, will be one of the first items to be considered by the Senate. He stated this when he inspected Conference Room 022, the temporary venue where Senate plenary will hold henceforth following ongoing renovation works in both chambers of the National Assembly. Senator Lawan noted that the National Assembly will be ready to receive the 2023 budget in the first week of October as interventions on national security will be sustained.
This is going to be our temporary chamber for some time, some months, and I'm aware that it will be here that we conduct the business of the Senate. But we also know that we are going to receive Mr. President for the presentation of the 2023 appropriation budget estimates. And we expect that the President will be doing that in the first week of October, even though it may not be taking place here. Imagine that the House of Reps chamber will be the appropriate place like we have always done.
In pursuant of its mandate of ensuring food security, employment generation and wealth creation in the country, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is supporting the establishment of more than 100 processing centers in rural communities under the Green Imperative project of a private-driven mechanization program. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar stated this in Jos while addressing participants at the meeting of the National Council on Agriculture and Rural Development. Ijoma Examiner reports.
The council meeting was an interactive platform for the conceptualization and review of policies, programs and projects in the sector.
Before today, many technical papers have been given, which when implemented will move agriculture to the highest level in this country.
In this program, we have learned so much about how to preserve our food and then boost the food production so far.
Agriculture has been consistently prioritized by successive administration towards ensuring food security and attaining national development policies. To improve on performance, the ministry is strengthening the linkage between research, agriculture and industry by intensifying commodity value chain development process.
Nigeria is endowed with a total of 79 million hectares of agricultural land, with only 44% being cultivated. The nation also has 267 billion cubic meters of fresh surface water and 58 billion cubic meters underground water.
I am convinced that this is an evidence of Plateau State government's effort to take agriculture as one of its priorities.
The ministry promised to sustain its programs on farm input subsidy support program, registration, clustering and validation of farmers, mainstreaming women and youth in agribusiness and developing cooperatives along various agricultural commodity value chains. For Plateau State government, adequate attention has been given to agriculture in the last 7 years.
Plateau State is an agrarian state with potential to build the nation, and to do so is that using its exotic crops that are not grown in other parts of the country.
Goodwill messages came from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Water Resources, House Committee on Agriculture, All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Food and Agricultural Development, as well as Bongom Jos, Da Jacob Buba. The 45th regular meeting of the National Council on Agriculture and Rural Development has strengthening agricultural value chain development process for food security and economic development as its theme. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
To environmental matters now, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, is calling the attention of the general public, especially state and local government councils, to intensify and set up efforts to avert flood-related disasters in their domains, as the nation is now in the peak of flooding season. In a statement, the Director General of NISA, Clement Inze, maintains that the flooding situation still persists as rivers Niger and Benue systems have continued to build up. The agency reminds Nigerians that the country is at the lowest point of River Niger Basin, meaning that once the upper catchment of the basin gets flooded, Nigeria should be prepared to experience flooding. It adds that as at Friday 16 September 2022, the flow of River Niger is at Niamey, Niger Republic, upstream of Nigeria, which is within the normal limits. However, on the River Benue Basin, NISA says the release of excess water from Lagdo Dam, which started on Tuesday, 13 September 2022, will be a continuous process till the inflow of Lagdo reservoirs recedes. The water releases from Lagdo Dam, the agency says, has contributed to the increase in volume of flow of River Benue and its tributaries such as River Faro and Mayo Balwa, which in turn contributed to the recent flooding in some parts of Uroboki Yola, Jimeta, Numan and Madagali in Adamawa State. therefore wishes to inform the state governors, the general public and stakeholders alike that the situation at the country's inland reservoirs, Kainji, Jeba and Shiwuru, and the Lagdo Dam present a likelihood of river flooding between now and October ending. Hence, the need to put in place adequate measures and enhance preparedness to mitigate any eventual flooding, particularly in all the states and communities that are on the main course of rivers Niger and Benue system, namely Kebbi, Niger, Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Edo, Delta, Anambra, Cross River, Rivers, and Bayelsa. Environmental and sanitation experts in Plateau State have restated their commitment towards mitigating floods in the state. This follows the recent prediction of possible flooding in some states across the country. By the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, Naziru Adam Ibrahim completes the story.
Flooding is a natural disaster affecting a number of people over the years, with many lives lost, farmlands and properties destroyed. The seasonal forecast reveals high rates of flooding in some states, including Plateau, as a result of persistent rainfall. Major contributing factors to flooding are blockage of waterways and improper waste management.
Dumping waste into the drainage. Though some are dumping waste where exactly it's supposed to be. But when government help in clearing the drainage system and then inform the people on how to handle waste and then how they build on waterways, sometimes these are factors that brings about flooding.
Government should put proactive measures in order to curtail the measures before it happens. And then people that are resident in that area should be able to leave the area before the incident occurred.
So it should advance strictly to the warning of the government. Government have been on air severally telling people to leave flood-prone areas.
With the recent excessive downpour, stakeholders in the state are putting in place measures towards mitigating the disaster in flood-prone areas.
The steps we took first is enlightenment. We identified the areas that are vulnerable. We served notices to get them out of those places. We enlightened them about the dangers, and some complied and some didn't. It is those that didn't that turned out to be worse affected.
We've been sending our staffs to go around and sensitize people on the need for them to clear their environment, most especially where drainages are provided. Government is trying its best to make sure funds are being released to those that are affected.
They advise citizens to take environmental issues serious, desist from blocking waterways with buildings, and relocate from flood-prone areas, as well as adhere to authorities' directives, as disaster management is everyone's business. In Jos, Naziru Adam Ibrahim, NTA News.
We have in the studio the Permanent Secretary, Plateau State Ministry of Environment, Mr. Albert Chaimang, to talk more on efforts to avoid flood in the state. So you're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you.
Okay, so Plateau State is one of the states listed by NIMET to experience flooding. Can you shed more light on this, on the situation in Plateau State?
As at yesterday, thank God, Plateau State was off the list. I received the list of states that are likely to be affected by flooding in the next 1-2 weeks, and Plateau State is off the list. We thank God for that, but we know that flooding is something that you cannot stop, but you can take measures to safeguard yourself and your property by adhering to government directives to leave flood-prone areas and then dispose of your waste properly. Now, let me go back to the first time we had a severe case of flooding in Nigeria, 2012, where so many lives were lost, a countless number of infrastructure broken, and so on and so forth. After that, the weather event kept reoccurring. And in the course of time, Plateau State government identified some communities in Plateau State spread across 3 or 4 local governments that were prone to flooding. And in partnership with Christian Aid then I think around 2018, people were trained on disaster risk reduction. And committees were formed from the community level. There was a community development and disaster management. I think the word for that one was platform. And at the local government level, local government emergency management committee, and at the state level, disaster management and mitigation platform. And these committees at the various levels were made up of people from all walks of life, but with a bearing on how to reduce risk from disasters, but with the peculiarity is flooding. Okay. And to the best of my knowledge, these committees, most especially at the community levels, are still working. For the case in instance is the one at Ricos here in Jos, because this issue has been reoccurring, and we've had feelers, we have had interactions with the people from the community who have been actively involved in risk reduction. One of them just recently died, Alamin, but he was very active to the extent that even during the dry seasons, he organized and held simulation exercises.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank God Plateau State is on the list, of course, but there's still need for prevention. What efforts are you making as a ministry and as a government to...
Ours is to keep on talking to the general public. This is what is impending. So you need to do something for you to safeguard yourself and your property. Now, we also are calling on the general public to be careful about blocking waterways, because water will always find its way. And the blockages, due to the blockages, we have experienced flash flooding within the urban center. And if we continue on this trajectory, it will just worsen the situation. And we know that the situation is even getting worse and worse, because the last 10 years happened to be the hottest years in the last century, and the trend has not changed yet.
Let's hope there's something else can rescue them. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Albert Chairman, for finding time to be here on Panorama today. I've been interacting with the Permanent Secretary, Plateau State Ministry of Environment, Mr. Albert Chairman. Thanks for being here again. Panorama continues after this break. Do stay.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country through coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Welcome back. The African Democratic Congress has announced expulsion of its presidential candidate and 4 others for anti-party activities, misconduct and gross violation of the party's constitution, amongst others. A statement signed by the ADC National Chairman Ralph Okeowosu reveals that the decision was taken after a 7-man disciplinary panel set up by the party submitted its report which indicted the suspended members. It however urged party members to remain focused and continue to be good ambassadors of the party. Governor Simon Lalong says his administration is repositioning the tourism and hospitality industry to create wealth and employment in the state. This was at the training of tour guide operation by the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism in Jos. Yildiz Danladi reports that the event attracted stakeholders in the hospitality industry.
Being an employer of labor, the tourism sector the world over has become a driving force for economic growth and development. Hence the training of these tour operators.
Beyond just participation, the research component of it that needs to go to the world and how the country needs to be exported and put on the world map is something that it's very significant.
Especially skills to be able to sell tours in the Plateau, because skills that will equip me to be able to handle special terrain of the Plateau. What are the necessary skills I need to become a better tour guide, to become a better tour person, knowing that you are interfacing with people.
The team promoting ecotourism and hiking in Nigeria, the Director General National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism says the potentials in Plateau State are next to none, making it a tourist hub.
By the end of this program, we will see positive change in the youth.
Governor Simon Lalong represented told the participants that a lot has been done by the state to provide an enabling environment for tourists, adding that concerted efforts are being made to reposition the industry.
Major drivers of tourism and hospitality is peace. And without peace, we all have acknowledged here that nothing will work and we cannot have an environment, a conducive environment.
Resource person delivered lecture on ways of promoting hiking and tourism and perspective on tourism, calling on stakeholders to ensure that tourism is given its rightful place. Goodwill messages came from key players and the Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution. In Jos, Yildiz Danladi, NTA News.
The General Officer commanding the 3 Division of the Nigerian Army and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Ibrahim Ali, is calling for synergy with security agencies to tackle insecurity and restore peace in the society for meaningful development. This was while addressing participants at a sensitization for the implementation of the report of the 26-man committee of Operation Safe Haven. Grace Akwegotip has details.
The 26-man committee, which was inaugurated with the mandate to interact with members of communities that were affected by crisis, has officers of Operation Safe Haven, representatives of various ethnic groups in Basa, Jos North, Jos South local government areas of Plateau State. The committee visited all the affected communities and interacted with their representatives on the way forward. Chairman of the committee, Justice Daniel Longi retired, says, based on their interactions, the people are ready to live in harmony with their neighbors as a way of entrenching peace.
We visited the communities one by one in what we call advocacy visit, where we interacted with them and brought out exactly what was the problem, trashed them, and then we now came up with this all-inclusive workshop or seminar, whatever that it is.
The General Officer commanding 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven commended the committee for a thorough job, noting that its report will enhance harmonious coexistence. He explained that the duty of enthroning peace in any society lies with everyone.
This workshop or seminar, we may call it, is to try and educate people from these 3 local governments on what we can do to overcome the differences causing problems in these communities. So
Governor Simon Lalong represented says the state government will sustain efforts towards peaceful coexistence, calling on communities to live in peace and harmony.
The peace building agency has been working with diverse stakeholders, the Operation Safe Haven, and other security agencies, community people. The agency has engaged in a lot of dialogue and set up platforms whereby people meet and discuss and dialogue and negotiate on the way forward.
Today what we are experiencing is the height activities of the committee, having sat for months, compiling, visiting, interfacing with all these communities, preparing solution, lasting solution as for a problem that has been stated. It is very commendable, and for the local government councils, we are here to support them.
Some members of the affected communities say, based on their interactions with the committee, they have now resolved to work towards peace. In Jos, Grace Akwekuti, NTA News.
Up next is Sports Update with Eneljo Adiko.
Africa's soccer governing body, CAF, has conducted